Have you ever wondered why some students seem to learn with such joy, even when the work gets challenging? It's not just about being good at studying. More often than not, it's the environment around them, the space they learn in, the people who support them, and the little routines that make the process feel less like a task and more like a journey. Today, I want to share with you a story about William and Aisa, two classmates who discovered that studying together could change not only the way they learn, but also the way they see themselves. It's a story about perseverance, friendship, and the quiet strength that comes from knowing someone believes in you. It was a peaceful afternoon when William arrived at Aisa's house. Aisa had set up a small study space in the living room. The plan was simple: spend the afternoon working through their assignments, help each other where needed, and maybe take a short break to enjoy a snack before heading home. There was a sense of calm here, as if the walls themselves knew that learning was happening inside. Aisa's parents greeted William warmly before leaving them to their work. It wasn't an intrusive kind of supervision, but the kind that lets you know someone is nearby, cheering you on in their own quiet way. For young people like William and Aisa, that subtle presence made all the difference. It turned homework from a lonely chore into something they didn't mind tackling together. They started with mathematics. William struggled with a particular problem involving fractions, but instead of becoming frustrated, Aisa suggested they break it down step by step. They discussed it, tried different approaches, and eventually found the answer. It wasn't just about getting the problem right. It was about the feeling of progress, the shared satisfaction of "we figured this out." As the afternoon passed, they moved on to reading assignments, discussing what they understood and helping each other see details they might have missed alone. Their laughter filled the room a few times, breaking the quiet rhythm of page turning and pen scratching. And every so often, Aisa's mother would peek in with a plate of fresh fruit, making sure they stayed energized. It's easy to think that learning is all about textbooks, grades, and exams. But here, in this warm, bright living room, it was also about connection, patience, and the small encouragements that turn challenges into opportunities. William and Aisa didn't realize it yet, but they were building something far more valuable than just correct answers. They were building habits and mindsets that would stay with them long after this day. There were diagrams to draw, explanations to write, and examples to find. It wasn't the kind of task you could rush through in a single afternoon. They didn't need to finish it all at once. They just needed to make steady progress. They began by splitting the tasks. It wasn't easy. Some information was hard to understand, and certain diagrams were tricky to recreate. But each time one of them stumbled, the other stepped in to help. They worked like that for hours, the quiet hum of focus broken only by the occasional question or the rustle of pages. Even when they disagreed about how to present certain information, they treated those moments as part of the process rather than an obstacle. Instead of saying, "That's wrong," they would say, "Let's see if we can make it clearer." They had completed a detailed outline. It wasn't everything, but it was more than they had expected to get done. More importantly, they had learned how to work together in a way that made both of them better students. Aisa's parents returned to the living room, smiling as they saw the organized stack of notes and the two friends still deep in discussion. They didn't say much, just a simple, "Looks like you've both been working hard," followed by a plate of warm snacks. That small moment of recognition felt almost as satisfying as completing the work itself. It was a reminder that effort doesn't go unnoticed, and that encouragement, no matter how subtle, can fuel the motivation to keep going. William thought about how the day had gone, the way Aisa had encouraged him when the work seemed too big, and how breaking tasks into smaller steps made everything feel more possible. Those simple words carried a lesson that could be applied far beyond the classroom. Life is full of projects, challenges, and moments that seem overwhelming at first. Sometimes we look at the whole task and think, I can't do this. But when we take it step by step, and especially when we let others walk beside us, the path becomes not only easier, but also more meaningful. For William, this day showed him the power of teamwork. He had always been the type to work quietly on his own, but he now realized that sharing ideas didn't make his efforts less valuable. It made them stronger. For Aisa, the lesson was about patience, both with herself and with others. She saw that guiding someone through a problem wasn't just about knowing the answer. It was about listening, understanding where they were stuck, and finding a way forward together. Their parents, too, had a role in this learning environment. Without hovering or taking over, they created a space where learning felt supported. A warm plate of fruit, a word of encouragement, and simply being present made a bigger difference than they might have realized. Support doesn't always need to be loud or obvious. Sometimes it's the quiet presence that says, I believe in you. That night, as William sat down at his desk, he felt her encouragement in his mind, reminding him to take things one step at a time. He realized that the best lessons aren't just the ones you jot down in a notebook. They're the ones that change the way you approach challenges from that moment on. They were still students, still learning, but now they knew something important. The right environment, the right people, and the right attitude could turn even the hardest tasks into opportunities for growth. When William and Aisa finished their science project presentation, they felt ready, not because everything went perfectly, but because they knew they had given it their all. And their teamwork was evident in every part of the presentation. It wasn't just about the grade. It was about the recognition of something deeper, the cooperation, patience, and willingness to help each other succeed. In a world where it's easy to focus only on results, this was a reminder that the way you get there matters just as much as the destination. They realized that the environment you choose to learn in can change everything. A quiet space, encouragement from those around you, and a mindset that welcomes challenges can turn an ordinary study session into a powerful experience. William and Aisa's story shows that learning isn't a race. It's about steady effort, patience, and support. Parents don't need to solve every problem. Simply being present, listening, and celebrating small wins can fuel progress. A supportive environment builds confidence and focus. Whether student, parent, or teacher, surround yourself with people who lift you up and approach challenges with patience. You'll be surprised how far you can go. As the video comes to a close, let this be your takeaway. Success isn't only measured in grades or achievements, but in the steady progress you make and the positive connections you build along the way. Just like William and Aisa discovered, the journey becomes lighter when you share it, and every step forward is worth celebrating.